You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
God bless America. Welcome to The Ranch, everybody, the podcast where we explore Dry Creek Ranch, Eagle, and the greater Boise area. This episode is our first food review, and it was great. My boy Luke McDonough and I both love food, and we love exploring different restaurants together. So we're going to be doing food reviews probably about once every 2 weeks. So if you have a restaurant that you like and you think maybe we should showcase, please do let me know. Again, both Luke and I love food. We love all different types of food, and I really appreciate people who give solid food reviews. And in this way, we can actually see what the food looks like. You see the restaurant, you see the whole thing instead of somebody just saying, hey, it's a good restaurant. So again, if you have a location that you think would be open to doing a food review and you really like, please do let us know and we'll go check it out. But without further ado, here it is, the Springhouse food review. To get to the Springhouse restaurant, you head east off Highway 55 on Dry Creek Ranch Road. The scenery is beautiful and you actually pass the Dry Creek Ranch farm. As you wind through the hills for a few minutes, appreciating the livestock, you eventually come to Seaman's Gulch Road. You make a right. 1 or 2 more minutes and you've come to Hidden Springs. Hit a left off Seaman's Gulch, past the fire station, and you pull into the parking lot. Springhouse is not only a beautiful building, but it also has fantastic outdoor seating and very fun nighttime activities. My partner in crime for this review is Luke McDonough. 6'4", 260 pounds, giant white truck, just had a baby. He's one of the best, and I'm pumped to have lunch with him. You have to order up the bar, so be aware of that. The menu is fairly reasonably priced, especially when you consider the quality of food. They do have a lot of gluten-free options, which is awesome for me, and I appreciate that they put an egg on some of their burgers. Luke and I order and sit down and start chatting. His baby's only a few weeks old, so getting him out of the house was a trick. So we sit and enjoy the scenery, catch up, talk about family, and before we know it, our food shows up. I got the Springhouse burger, which is absolutely one of my favorites. It has a farm fresh egg on it, you have a gluten-free bun option, which is great, has great cheese, great patty, great side salad. We also got a side of the wings. There are several different types of these, but they're not overdone. They have just the right amount of crisp, awesome celery and carrots, and great dipping sauces. Luke went for the Springhouse chicken sandwich. It's definitely one of the favorites of the neighborhood. You can get it crispy or grilled, has a great bun, great flavor, and he just opted for a side of fries. We refresh our drinks and just dig in. Luke played D1 college football and I was a rower at Cal, so the conversation very quickly wanders onto D1 athletics. But what I didn't know about Luke is that he actually didn't grow up huge. Apparently he started his freshman year only about 5'8" and 140 pounds. It's hard to imagine him as a smaller human being because he walks around like a tiny dinosaur. But it gave me pause to think about Luke as a small person and having to actually work up to the size that he was. Because most of the time when I meet people that are huge, they've always been huge. My teammates on the rowing team at Cal that were 6'6" always seemed to be tall. It was a rarity that I met somebody who was very tall but very small as an adolescent. And this is what he had to say.
With football, it was different for me. So my dad played college football, played at UCLA. That's what I looked up to. It's like, okay, dad played D1 ball, gotta go there. I have an older brother who's a phenomenal athlete, could have easily had a tenure or, an average career in the NFL, whatever the length is. Injury, stop that one. So for me, it's like, okay, here's this big ceiling I have, but here's the kicker. I played basketball my whole life. So everyone that's looking at me on camera right now is like, there's no way this 6'4", 255-pound guy played basketball, right? Because Steve Nash is the same height as me, basically, right? Point guard. But I wasn't always, I wasn't always a big guy. I was a late bloomer growing up. Freshman year, I was 5'8" or 5'9", right around there. My brother was a freshman. He was 6'4". He was 6'4", I think, in 7th grade. So he was always the center. I was the point guard. So I learned skills in basketball to be, more of a shooting guard, point guard, and that was it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to grow. Maybe I'm the runt in the family. Well, summer after sophomore year, I grew significantly until I was like 6'4" myself. But my point is, like, I always thought basketball was my sport. I love the team camaraderie. I love the individual, competitiveness as well, right? You got to be great. And my dad never put pressure on us to play football. And I think it's because as he got older, he struggled to do normal day-to-day things because of injury. Shoulder injury, back injury, knee injury. I mean, he's had, tons of surgeries, right? So he's like, man, I don't know if I want that for my kids, so I'm not going to tell him they can't play football, but I'm not going to pressure him. So my brother only played football junior and senior in high school. I only played my senior year of high school. And you brought up arrogance, and the reason I want to comment on that is because junior year, I joined the golf team. And I was like, I'm going to play golf. Even though I know I want to play football, I'm going to play golf and ride this through like spring football. And then come out because I'm Sean's younger brother and I'll be fine. I'll make it. You know, he's an outstanding football player, so I got the last name. That was arrogant. It was an arrogant thing to do, an arrogant thing to, think, basically. Well, my coach at the... Oh, I'm learning, yeah. Well, that's why it's such a life learning lesson for me, because my coach in football, basically said, hey, McDonough, what are you doing here? When I showed up. So I'm here to play football, coach. I want to be on the team. He's like, that's great. I'll see you next year. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, guys that want to play football, they show up to all parts of the football season, which starts with spring ball. And I was out playing golf on the golf team. And I wasn't like competitively playing on the golf team. I was trying to get free balls at the local golf course because that's where we practiced. So that hit me hard, man. I was like, dang. I got people fired up, my pops and my brother, that I was going to play. And the next thing you know, I'm not playing. And so I was like, that day, I grew up a little bit. I was like, you know what? That was ignorant. And it was arrogant. So I said, I'm going out next year. And I made sure I was on time that senior year, played football my senior year, had a great season, played wide receiver, and was fortunate enough to go on and play at the D1 level in college. But that's where my arrogance kind of was left at the door. Because it was like, all these guys are out there working their ass off and may not be as talented, gifted as I am, but they're putting in the work, where I thought I could just walk up and show up, So that honestly, that changed the course of how I think.
Yeah.
I asked him what it was like to go from being a medium-sized freshman to a giant senior year. Did it change the way he viewed himself? Did it change how he worked on the team? I never played football, so I didn't have teammates that went through this process. And this is what he said.
At the time, I don't think I realized it. I think it was happening naturally because, even though I was 5'9" or whatever, I was still on the higher spectrum as far as the average, right? So I kind of just blended in, where my brother was like an anomaly. Like, how was this guy 6'3" as a seventh grader, So I didn't really think of it as I was the abnormality, more so my brother was. But, I absolutely think not only did it teach me how to mature as a person and learn other skills, I think was the key part. It's like, okay, you're not going to play power forward or centers in basketball, or you're not already bench pressing, whatever the number was back then. I had to figure out other ways to account for that. So I became very skilled in other attributes that would allow me to play at that height, right? Or whatever it was. And then later on, that paid dividends to all my success, because now I was a big guy who had the skill set of, maybe the more athletic positions you'd say, or not athletic, but more skilled positions that, quicker, faster, eye-hand coordination, things of that nature. Like, you don't see many centers in basketball that are coming down, dribbling the ball down the court and crossing people up. But that's all I knew. And then all of a sudden I was 6'4", sophomore year, going, oh man, I have a height advantage and a skill advantage. So it benefited me in the long run, but yeah, I absolutely think it forced me to learn other ways. Yeah.
I love hanging out with Luke. He's great to have lunch with. He's good to drink a beer with. He's just good people. So we finished up our meal and got on with the day. I'm excited to have another lunch with him soon. The Merc is a great place to get takeout or go to get a bite. It has a great atmosphere. The people are really nice. You do have to get your own drinks. You do have to order at the bar, but that's to be expected. So if you're looking for a sit-down experience where somebody waits on your hand and foot, this isn't your spot. But if you are looking for a place that has, in my opinion, one of the best burgers, this is a great option. But stay tuned and find out where we hit up next. Quick shout out to our sponsor, C² Social. C² Social is the leading expert in social media marketing and creative marketing. They have fantastic platforms. I have been a client of theirs for some time. I cannot recommend them highly enough. C² Social for all of your social media and creative marketing needs.
Can you stay